Hi folks, I'm Woody and welcome back to the shed. It's time to take a look back to the beginning of the year 2023 and perhaps even further to reassess some of our experiments of last year. Looking back to the beginning of the year then, some of us had the chance to play in the snow. Orson Clark was Easterton's first BFC Flyer 2023, followed quickly by our very own Roland Butter and then a flurry of also-rans headed by Don. Flying from a frozen surface isn't difficult as long as it's hard, if you see what I mean. A frozen crust isn't good if the stuff under it's soft and your wheels break through it. I gave it a go, but eventually decided to wait for spring. But it didn't take long to melt. Which provided us with the usual winter swamp for a while. So it was a good time to do some maintenance. That's when I discovered this little problem. The starboard muffler bracket has broken. It's broken in half actually. This is the port side. This is how it ought to look. So it's time to call in the sorcerer and his fire stick. I've cleaned everything up, wired it all together and fireproofed everything in sight. Nice. I wish I could do that. So that looks a bit better. Here's the latest addition to the zoo. Alpha Bravo Sierra has been with us on site for quite a while, but has had, shall we say, a few minor problems. These are all eventually remedied by replacing the engine, a simple solution which anyone can achieve given a fat wallet and unlimited resources. This wasn't quite his first solo on type, but almost. We'd all kept a discreet distance for that event just in case it didn't go well, but since he got away with it, I'm happy to record the encore here.
Whoa! Oh wow, you flew magnificently!
Here's a feature of the Moray Coast weather. This is Har, this is coastal fog. It forms in warm high pressure conditions with little wind and can appear in minutes. In this case though, I collected some fog and brought it home with me. We're still experimenting with the 360 camera. Unfortunately, my computer struggles to handle the huge files that this camera produces, and it crashes quite often. This adds many hours to production times. Not much I can do about it at the moment, other than I feel some upgrading will have to happen soon. I need a better graphics card for sure, but my Dell computer can be difficult to update. The best solution is probably newer hardware. But now that the sun's shining and the temperature's above single digits, it's time to install the air conditioning again. The entire job takes about 5 minutes. The only tool needed is a zip tie cutting machine. Pins on the clip and we're done. So, that's me all cool again then. There hasn't been much formation flying yet, though some of our animals have been sick, with ailments ranging from exhaust falling off, which was me, engines with terminal diseases requiring a transplant, family priorities, all combining to limit the fun. So Don continues to enjoy the Minisport alone. We had another look at some older questions, like how fast can she turn? We tried 360 turns at various speeds and it turns out, sorry, pardon the pun, the best speed for the best sustained turn rate is 75 knots at 2.5 G. That's 12 seconds for a full circle. Well, you can do the maths, 30 degrees a second. When we did the experiments with engine failures and turnbacks, there seemed to be some opinion that the idling engine was still producing some residual thrust, and therefore the results weren't valid. The only way to test that is to shut the engine down and do it all again. Same routine as before, that is carb heat on, close the throttle, count a second or two for reaction time, then shove the nose down while trimming fully back and checking the flaps are up. The only extra thing was to switch the mags off. The full 360 degree turn used 250 feet of altitude at a glide speed of 60 knots and a bank angle of between 45 and 60. Air start used up another 300 feet, accelerating to 100 knots to get the prop moving. The end of May brought the beginnings of the main fly-in season. Glenforsa was a favourite for the first venue, but the weather wasn't looking good, so we went the other way instead, down the east coast to Yorkshire and Sherburn and Elmet for their holiday event. I had a plan to stay the night at Sherburn, because there was going to be a party, then move on to Sandown on the Isle of Wight for the Spanfield Microlight Festival. Other options included the open day at Kirkbride, which was on Sunday, it's near Carlisle. To visit all three, plus Glenforsa if the weather improved, we'd be a bit of a challenge. Then I thought, well, is there anything else you'd rather be doing? Since I was going to be camping, I decided to put the hood back on, which was something I was going to regret. It was very bumpy over the mountains and a lot of cloud below, brilliant blue above. Temperature in the cockpit, 35 degrees. Easted to Sherburn then, 4 hours and 10 minutes of very sweaty flying. But the grass is as smooth as silk. And I get a free landing too, because of the event. That's got to be a bonus. I was a bit surprised though. I found myself the only visitor on the airfield. And since it was all a bit quiet, I decided to push on to a venue with a guarantee of more activity, and certainly the bar was going to be open till late, so that's a good bonus. A straight line southwards pretty much across England, across the Solent. Attempt to speak to Solent radar, but basically the response was, don't bother me with your requests, I'm busy. So a quick switch to Sandown and a couple of attempts to land. Not the easiest of places to land at. And here's the closest I come to a ground loop in 52 years. The last one was with a chipmunk at Church Fenton in 1971. But that's not the end of my embarrassment. Instead of continuing down the runway to the next exit on the right, which was hidden by the long grass, I turned left onto what looked like a parallel taxiway. It's actually a parallel runway, as I'm about to realise. Sherburn to Sandown then, 3 hours and 15 minutes. It's been a long hot day, but the right decision. There's plenty happening here and there's the usual warm welcome to go with the weather. Sunday morning, nice and bright, nice and sunny, nice and warm, but it's going to get windy later, so perhaps it's best to head north. Time to get the map out and plot a plan. Barton for lunch, take the Manchester corridor, that's always exciting. How far to Kirkbride? I decided to stop at Barton, but they had an arrivals embargo between 11:50 and 12:20. No problem, I thought, I can fit around that, shouldn't be an issue. But as I flew up the corridor, I heard there was a delay. I could loiter or I could press on. If I get any more delays, I'll be forced to camp at Kirkbride or Glenforsa. Northern weather is worsening tonight and I don't want to get stuck. Decision? I'll push on. Sorry Barton, another time perhaps. Actually, next weekend.
just go straight from you, mate, from here. Bravo, entrance, taxi with the start. There goes,
Orson Cart's got here before me from the opposite direction, and it looks like he's got his marshaller's hat on. Good thing too, this place is jumping like a box of frogs and there's people all over the place, with dogs and prams and, well, not very much awareness from what it seems to me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you got off, I'll just do it straight
With the barbecue shut down and only a melted chocolate bar in the lunchbox, I squeezed in 20 litres of avgas, had some cold tea up the flask and said goodbye before the wind got any worse. No flap, stick hard into wind, I must get thinner knees, I could do with a bit more left wing down sometimes. This will be the last leg, wherever I end up. The plan is to get home via Glenforsa. I might land, but at least I can do a fly through and just say hello. Approaching the islands though, things are looking a little bit gloomy. I could really do with a beer, but I think it would be wiser to get home before the weather gets there before me. The Great Glen and the Lochs are a spectacular end to a great trip. Scottish Centre couldn't give me a weather update for the Moray area because Lossiemouth were closed, so I sent Rudolph a text message. Handy things, these smartphones. And we're home. There's a stiff old crosswind too. The last few miles have been pretty bumpy, so I was expecting it, though the direction is apparently very variable according to Rudolph. A bit of a roller coaster ride down finals, I must say. Seems faster than 55 to me though. Gently stalking the runway, but even with the throttle closed, she's still moving pretty fast over the ground. Check the airspeed? Go around again? I considered it, but there's plenty of airfield left. Let's just see how she behaves with a hot touchdown. So that's why an into-wind landing is always recommended in the books. I used up 3/4 of the runway, maybe more, over twice the normal rollout distance. So we're home though. Kirkbride to Easterton, 3 hours 50 minutes. So that's a good weekend, I think. 15 hours 55, 1,005 miles, and a huge total of... You gotta be happy with that. It's nice to be home, but it won't be long before the next expedition. Actually, next weekend. And then some more beyond that. So thank you for watching, or coming back again. The next instalment will include yet more maintenance issues for the Minisport, a few more long distance excursions, and a review of my experiences with electronic conspicuity gadgets. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.